Welcome back to another Three Geeks conversation. Today I am joined by the artist Gambit. It is incredible to have you here.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So where did the name Gambit come from? Like, what does that represent to you as an artist?
Well, it comes from the X-Men character. It started when the character came out. I got a little bit obsessed with him. And at the time, there was only he was only on the Uncanny X-Men book. And then they did the X-Men book. And I told the owner of the store where I used to buy my comics back then to get me everything where the character was. So he started doing that. If the character showed up in a cover, he assumed that the character was in it, and he will bring it to me. And one day he said, "Here's a Gambit for Gambit," and it stuck. And that's it. That has been my nickname since 1992.
I love that. That's incredible. I was wondering if it was X-Men related. I was like,
yes,
it's gotta be.
Yes, that's where it started. There's actually a bunch of people that don't know my real name that think that that's actually my real legal name, and I just let them
just roll with that, right? Like, I wouldn't correct them either. I feel like, for sure. In fact, X-Men got it from me.
Exactly. So you're talking about X-Men? What? No, I don't know anything about comic books.
Then they see your art and they're like, wait a minute. What first pulled you into art? Was it like the street art, personal expression, just something else? Like what got you started as an artist?
Well, I've always been drawing since I was very young. I know I have family history. There's family that uncles and cousins that used to draw, and I always admired them. So I decided to when I was growing up, like every kid, to draw. And one day I did one satsam drawing, and everybody got oh my god, so excited about it, right? It was so excited. I like the attention so much that I decided to keep doing it. Yeah. And that's it. That was it. I wanted to be a comic book artist since not long after that. I got my first comic book. It was Marvel Presents. We had the Vulture. It was a Spider-Man comic with the Vulture in it. And I still have I managed to track down a copy and find a copy. And since then, I wanted to this is really cool. I want to do that. I want to do this. I want to draw this. And I copy those panels and redraw those panels. And that's it. That was it. I just knew I wanted to do comic books since very little. How I ended up doing tattoos? Well, there was no options. It wasn't as easy as it is these days to publish a comic book.
Yeah.
I can go online and I can go into a print-on-demand service website and I can have 1 copy, 10 copies, how many copies I need. But when I wanted to do it, it was a little bit more. It wasn't cheap and it wasn't easy to process. And it's a lot for one person to do one comic. And I tried with some friends and all that, and it wasn't working out. So I gave up. And I started designing tattoos for my friends. And one day, one of them said, "You should actually learn how to tattoo." And you said, "You know what? Let's do that." Interestingly enough, after I started tattooing, it opened up the doors to be a comic book artist. And basically, I've been doing both of the same things at the same time, growing at the same time, which was a happy accident.
I love that. Love it. Just you accidentally stumbled into it, but your tattoo work is also incredible.
Thank you.
I was looking at your Instagram. Like I love tattoo work. That's one of my favorite art forms, honestly. And
thank you.
Like me and the rest of the group, we were going through. And we were like, "Wow, his work's really good."
Thank you. I've been doing this for 20 years. So
that's awesome. Where do you do tattoos?
I am located in Florida, in Merritt Island, Florida, at a studio called the Blue Opal Tattoo.
Okay. Lauren, okay. You're close enough I could actually come to you.
Oh, there you go.
I'm south of Atlanta, so Florida's like vacation time.
Amazing. I go to Atlanta all the time. I go to Georgia at least once a year. I go to Dragon Con and I have friends up there, so I go to visit. In addition to go to Dragon Con, I go to visit them every once in a while. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, we'll have to stay in touch then, because if you're coming up here, we're going down there. I want to
make it happen. Yeah, we can make it happen. Definitely.
Like your work has a very like strong urban influence, it feels like. How did you develop your style?
That's very interesting. It's going to be very interesting for me to answer right now, because I don't consider to have a style in tattooing or my comic book work.
You just kind of do what comes to you.
Yes. My friend says that they can identify my work, that there are things in my work that when they see it, they know that I did it, but I haven't identified those things, and they can't tell me every time I ask them. So what is it about it that you see it and they say, I don't know, something there. I just saw it and I knew it was your work, and I made work that was not mine to see if they would fall for it, and specific what is it that they see, but I know that when I'm working, especially when I'm working on a comic book, specifically right now the series Cthulhu Invades for Orange Cone Productions here in Florida, and the Cthulhu Invades Oz, Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, Cthulhu Invades Neverland, Fairy Tales, and so on. With each one of those books, I get paired with a different writer every time, and with each one of them, I tried a different thing with my work. I try a different style. Either it's try to make it look like paintings, try to make it look like a modern comic book, make it look like an old school 50s horror comic book, like or watercolor. It depends. It honestly depends on what the on how I see it when I read the script the first time. So that's why I can't see a style, because I'm always trying different things, always trying to find something that when I see it, I'm happy with what I see in my head and what I see in the paper or in the screen, because I mostly work digital now. It's exactly what I see, and so far it's been working.
Yeah, I love that, because I feel like there's so many different ways to interpret art, and so you can, just because someone else sees it one way doesn't mean you have to. And I love that you're like, I don't, just because I did this way doesn't mean I have to do this way. I could do this a whole new style. And I love that. I do photography, so I feel that, like, not every photo shoot that I do, I don't feel I edit the same way. I think it fully depends on, like, the environment, the person, the story that we're telling. Like, you know, even weddings, not all weddings are like your beautiful in white, elegant, typical weddings. Like you have fun ones that you want the colors to pop more in some. You want some to be more moody. So I love that you do change it, that you see the story and go with what you're looking for there. And I think that's really cool.
It depends. Lately, I'm very into trying to make my digital work look like it was made on paper. That if you zoom in that screen, I'm like that. I see a drawing or something online, and I zoom in and I try to look for as many details I can, because now we have that way we can zoom in and see details. So I want that if you zoom in into my most recent work, it looks like, oh shit, is this paper? Is this digital? I want people to ask if they're doing. So I'm very into making it look like it's very analog, especially very old. I don't know why. It's funny. I started doing digital art, one, because I wanted to step up my game and be a little bit more competitive, and two, because I wanted to do digital art that looks like really shiny and plastic and beautiful and no mistakes and everything is perfect in the drawing, right? And once I got to a point doing that I was happy with it, I started going back into making it look like it was done on paper. And now I'm not as obsessed as making things like they have to be perfect. Now I let certain mistakes, certain things I know. I sometimes look at some drawings, I go, man, I could have drawn that hand better, or I could have drawn that face better. But then I leave it like that because I want to keep that, especially these days, keep that human factor into it, that when you see it you can tell that this was done by by someone's hand, that is not that is not being assisted. In fact, there's a bunch of tools on my Procreate that I barely use because I try to do everything as if I'm actually doing it in a piece of paper. Which makes me take sometimes
it takes longer. Twice as long, but
so you
it's worth it to be 100% you.
So if I'm doing something that, for example, I'm working right now on the Cobalt Cricket #1 pages the Kickstarter is going to be around May, end of April, beginning of May. We're gonna have that Kickstarter live. So for that, it's a superhero comic, right? And it's a very colorful, upbeat, hopeful type of superhero comic. We want it to be funny, to be to make you feel like enjoy the ride. Not that you cannot enjoy a serious comic book or you can't enjoy a horror book. That's not the point. We wanted to bring back that sort of Silver Age silliness that comics had at some point, early 80s too,
Yeah.
I feel like things are way too grim and serious these days for my escape to be equally grim and serious. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy my grim and dark books, but every once in a while I want to read something silly, right? Yeah. And that's what he wanted to do.
Escape, you want it to be happy.
So for that, all of this talking is so that I can show you something. For that, I try to do a more, I take a more modern approach to the work to make it look more like a modern comic. Okay, this is not going to help because this light, it's right in the way, but we can fix this real quick. Let me see if this works now. This stupid camera.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, that looks so good.
Thank you. You see, for this, I take a more modern approach in coloring techniques and inking techniques. So I with that I go a little bit more. I'm a little bit more loose with using the tools that the app provides. It helps me do things with lights and colors that normally, not that I can't do it with traditional paint or anything like that, but it'll take me trying to do it that way. It'll take me a little bit longer. And then for my other stuff, for what I'm usually doing when I do something for fun or just for me, it's more like this. Let's see if we can get there somewhere.
Oh, that's so cool.
And with this one specifically, like I mentioned earlier, I try to make it. Things are not working today like they should. My camera's not working. My iPad is not responding. Anyway, so I tried to make it that it's going to be a little bit difficult to probably see it here on the camera again. But when you get close to it,
you can see all the little
details.
See some
text. You can see some texture somewhere. Some wear and tear, making it like this was a book that has been read and been used and
that's super cool.
Being passed around.
Love the details.
So that is my current obsession with my work. It's making it look like it was done on paper instead of a digital screen.
Yeah.
On my iPad.
Yeah, you make it. I mean, if you make it look like it's already been passed around and used, obviously people are going to want it. They're going to be like, "Hey, that's been read. Give me that."
So yeah, and to answer your question, there's a lot of influence. There's a lot of influence in my work. I usually try to narrow it down to a few artists like Frank Frazetta, Jim Lee, Arthur Adams. Mention any Marvel or DC artist that has been part of shaping and George Perez shaping and creating what the medium that I love so much. They have all been in some way or another an influence. But I don't only take from those artists or just comic books. I read a lot of other books. I check a lot of movies and TV and videos and other artists. I like to buy art books, even if it's artists that I don't know, or even if it's art that a style that I usually follow or anything like that. I still, if it's interesting, I look it up and I look at it and I study it, and I always take something. There's always that you can learn something from other artists. So I try to do that every chance I get. My peers, other artists that work with me at the studio, which don't do comics, but I learned things from them doing their art for tattoos, then I apply that to my comic book work or my tattoo work, because it doesn't.
Yeah.
One is not, even though there's two different medium, one is connected to the other. What I do with my comic book work influence my tattoo work, and my tattoo work influence my comic book work. So they're pretty tied together right now.
Huh. I love that. I love that you combine them. I love combining all the mediums. Do you have like a favorite piece of art you've ever done that's like your most meaningful? And I know that's like trying to tell a parent to pick their favorite child. But...
Wow, I think that would be easier. I think that would be easier. I'd say that if I sit down and I go through, let's say, the last 10 years of me doing art, which has been the more involved has been the last 10 years. Because when I moved here to Florida, where I hit the reality that there's a bunch of other artists out there that are way better than me, right? Before I was in Puerto Rico, I live in a small island. There was a group of artists. The community is not that big, especially the comic book community or the tattoo artists. Now it's bigger. It has grown significantly. And even though I knew I wasn't at the level of some of the artists that were in the island, artwork was different enough that I saw myself like, yeah, you know. I got cocky. Then I moved here to the States and I started working with other artists that were, you know, in front of me, people that I see work on a daily basis. And I realized that if I didn't step up my game, I was gonna be left behind. So I got serious about what I was doing, and I lost track of what I was saying for a second there. I am so sorry.
No, that's okay. No, when you get passionate about stuff.
Yes, my favorite. So I would say that each year I create something, one or two pieces that I go like, oh yes, this is it. Because it wasn't until recently that I hated everything that I did. I was never happy 100% with what I did. It was always 90%, 95%. It's like there was always something like, now I'm really, I am at a point where I'm like, yeah, I would say that everything that I put out now, I don't put it out if I'm not happy. Before I just needed to get it out and publish it and put it out there and let people see it. I don't care that it has a bunch of mistakes. I don't care that I'm not happy with it. I don't care about it. The idea was finished, not perfect, right?
Yeah.
And that has helped a lot. It has helped me improve as an artist and be able to let loose a little bit. I used to spend too much time in one piece because it needed to be perfect. Now it's different. But every year I say I create one or two pieces that I'm like, yes, this is my favorite. But then a few months later I create another one and I go like, oh wow, this is my favorite. Yeah. And then and so on, because
that's what it should be.
I see my growth in them, and when I see every time I get to see my growth, which is something that I was not able to see before. Now every time I see it, I was like, yes, here it is. This is the one where where I leveled up just a little bit.
This is the new best.
If it's just a little bit. So it would be a really long list of things that I would consider my favorites. I should put a book out about an art book of my favorite pieces.
Yeah, you should. That would be great.
Let me write that down before I forget.
If I can. Idea.
Yeah. You mean writing things down, or because writing things down is a good idea? Otherwise, I will definitely 100% going to forget.
Oh yeah,
this is not going
the
to
same
write.
way. Have to write things down.
All right.
You mentioned your Kickstarter for the upcoming comic. What can you share about that new comic coming out? So
it's called the Cobalt Cricket. It's a character for the new Summit comics that launched a few weeks ago. It's a group of writers and artists that decided to get together and create a shared universe. And we just launched Summit Presents Pinnacle, the first book that it's like an anthology. It's sort of a preview and has a bunch of short stories that will tie in to the bigger arc and to the individual issues. I know that there has been 2 more books already that the Kickstarter was funded. We're releasing 1 or 2 every I think it's every month. I don't know the exact schedule, and I apologize. I should have been better prepared for that. And when they see this, they're gonna be mad at me for not being prepared for it. But I know there has been 2 more books or 3 more books that are already going on. And there's so before I digress again, the Cobalt Cricket is this guy that, due to an accident that you have to read the comic to see what happened, he has cricket powers, and he lives in a fictional city in Florida, Carl's Bay. It's named after our late friend Carmoline that passed away last year. Good friends with the writer and myself. And we decided, he decided, he said, this is the idea that I have. What do you think? And I was like, that Rick and Morty meme, you son of a bitch. I mean, oh shit, I don't know if I can curse or not. Sorry about that. Okay. I was like, yeah, I mean, and I didn't drop everything that I was doing, but I'm sort of behind schedule right now on some other projects because I sort of put some things aside to work on that. I'm very excited about this project. It's a very colorful, funny, silly pseudoscience type of book. It's things that you go like, wait a minute, that's nah. My advice is don't think too much about it. There's some science behind the thing, but just remember that it's a comic book,
Right.
And we're trying to have fun. We're trying to make it like I show you that page that I showed you that first page that I showed you a minute ago. That's the first page for the first issue. The reason I'm showing that one is because it's already on a preview that was published by.
It's already previewed.
Yeah. By Comic Book Resources.
Yeah.
It was published by Comic Book Resources a few weeks ago, so I can safely show that one. The others not so much. I've already done 12 pages for this project. I'm waiting on the next one. Yeah, that first issue is going to be, I think, it's going to be a 3-page book.
That's cool. That's awesome.
It's a massive project right now, considering that I'm doing tattoos full time.
Yeah,
it's a nice exercise that I'm going to be doing for the next few weeks.
I love it. Well, where can people follow your work and stay up to date with that Kickstarter and the comics you have coming out and your tattoo work?
So you can follow my Instagram. Is Gambit Inc. I usually talk about almost everything in that page, everything that I have going on. But recently I've started to separate my tattoo work from my comic book work, not because I don't want things to be all together. It's because the algorithm works that way, and it was having trouble pushing my work to the right people, because one day I was posting my music, one day I was posting tattoos, one day I was posting comic books. So if you want to check my tattoo work, which is mostly what I'm going to be posting from now on it's Gambit's Inc. Gambit's Inc. with INK, not Inc. as incorporated, Inc. as in ink. And then my comic book page is Ink Variant. That one's a newer page. I just started a few months ago, and that's where I will talk mostly about my comic book stuff. What else? That's it. Oh, the Kickstarter. I will definitely announce it there. The pages are the same on Facebook and other social media platforms. Gambit Sync and Ink Variant. That's where you can find me. You can send me questions, and I'm also available for commissions and always looking for work. So
definitely. Well, guys, please check out Gambit's pages. Check out his comics, his tattoo work. It's incredible. And if you happen to be in the area, you can check him out at Mockingbird Lane, March 27th through the 29th at the Hilton Garden Inn in Live Oak.
Yes, I'm pretty excited about that. And before we go, I'm assuming that we're leaving already. But before we go, I have a Kickstarter right now going on. I don't have a Kickstarter. There's a Kickstarter that I worked on. It's the second edition of the first book of the Cthulhu Invades series is Cthulhu Invades Us. I got to work on a really cool story with the Cowardly Lion, but he's not so cowardly anymore, and it's all badass.
Oh, fun.
Lost an eye and has a bunch of creature things as armor. So check it out. I'm really excited about that one.
Oh, that'll be lots of fun, guys. Yes. Seriously, check out his work. He's incredible. Don't forget to go follow his pages. Yes, Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here. And we'll see you guys next time.
Awesome.
Bye.